guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to show you how to cook amazing shiitake mushroom risotto. So the thing is that when I was browsing through some online groceries, I came across this wonderful shiitake mushroom. So I decided that why not create an amazing creamy mushroom risotto out of it. So let's get started. So to make risotto, you need 2.5 cup of arborio rice. That's approximately 500 grams. So we need oregano, thyme, some rosemary, around 40 grams of shiitake mushrooms, 2 to 3 cloves of garlic, 1 medium-sized red bell pepper and 1/3 yellow bell pepper, 2 medium-sized onion finely minced, 4 tablespoons of olive oil, 100 grams of shredded mozzarella and 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter, and salt, pepper according to your taste. The first step to make risotto is to boil water. In this case, I have here 1.5 liters of water. So we are going to boil this water and put our herbs in it. The purpose is that once this water is boiled, we will use the same water to remove the starch from the risotto grains. Generally, the risotto is made using stock water. Now, in this case, I do not have stock water, so that's why I'm showing you a method where we are using infused herb water. So technically, the reason behind is that the arborio rice are not meant to be soaked just like our regular rice. So the thing is that when you put boiling water on this rice, it releases starch. Now that starch is what makes your risotto creamy. But if you still prefer to make the risotto using a traditional method, a traditional way using the stock, leave me a message in the comment section below and I'll be more than happy to reply you back with the recipe. So now our water is getting boiled. Let's move on to the next step. We will immerse our shiitake mushroom in hot water. Make sure the water is not boiling water. It's relatively hot water, say for around 15 to 20 minutes. So that will release the flavor in this shiitake mushroom, and the texture of these mushrooms will be more earthy. Here I have kept this mushroom on a medium high heat. It's time to turn off the flame. As you can see, the water has come to almost a boiling point. We don't want to boil the water, but we want to make sure that the water is relatively hot to infuse the mushrooms. So once the water comes to a boiling point, turn off the heat and let your mushroom immerse in this hot water for 15 to 20 minutes. So now it's time to saute our garlic, onion and bell peppers. So let's add our olive oil. We'll add our unsalted butter. If you do not have unsalted butter, you can also use the regular butter. The only difference is the level of salt, so you can adjust that. Unsalted butter is generally used so that your risotto becomes much more creamy and gives the sapidity to the risotto. So once our butter and oil are heated, we will add garlic and our onions. Saute them until the onions are translucent. You do not want to caramelize these onions. Let them become pink in color, and then we will add our risotto. But before that, we will also add our bell peppers and saute them. Now bell peppers are completely optional, but you can add any veggies you want. Basically, risotto is nothing but the Italian khichdi, only the technique is different. So we will let this saute for 2 to 3 minutes before adding our risotto. So now our mushrooms are done. It's time to let them out of the water as they have come to a life. So as you can see, our mushrooms have come to life, and as I said earlier, the texture of the mushroom is meaty and the smell of the shiitake mushroom is really earthy. So we will take this out of water and we will cut them into bite-sized pieces. Once your mushrooms are out, do not discard this water. We are going to use half a cup of this stock in our risotto to enhance the flavor of the risotto. So let's cut our mushrooms in bite-sized pieces. Now remember, while cutting shiitake mushroom, they may seem like they are chewy, but that's how its texture is. So shiitake mushrooms are generally found in Japan. They're really earthy and they have a very pungent smell. But once these mushrooms are cooked, the flavor which they give to any dish, it's amazing. I personally like shiitake mushroom. If you do not have shiitake mushroom, you can also use the regular button mushrooms, or you can use mushrooms such as shimeji. You can use oyster mushroom. You can use any mushrooms you want. But I personally prefer shiitake mushroom because with creamy risotto, you need something which is earthy and which complements the flavor. Our mushrooms are cut and ready to go in the pan. Now, if you don't like mushrooms, don't worry. You can use any veggies you wish. And even if you don't put veggies, kids these days don't like veggies in their risotto. It's fine. You can use herbs in that. You can use basil. You can use any good herb and make a risotto out of it. You can also add cream, but I would not suggest to add cream because the risotto is in itself a very creamy food. The starch from the arborio rice will make it absolutely and wonderfully creamy. Let it cook for additional 2 minutes before we move to our main step, that is putting in the arborio rice. It's time to add our main ingredient, risotto. Now we will toast our risotto and coat each and every grain in oil and the butter which we have used to saute the veggies. Did you know the first ever risotto recipe dates back to 1809, and it's a staple food in Sicily where it was first made. Since the climate of Italy is cold, so they needed something creamy and thick, which would fill their stomachs, and hence the risotto was discovered or invented. This is nothing but the Italian way of khichdi. And the most beautiful thing about risotto is that you can use your own variations, you can use your own flavors, your own ingredients, and it will taste simply amazing. You can see I'm using a non-stick pan, so it doesn't require me to stir my risotto every now and then. But after a while I can stir once. But if you are not using a non-stick and if you have a steel saucepan, then make sure that you keep on stirring your risotto or else it may stick to the bottom. So now our rice are cooked. If you notice, it has become little bit brown. It has a tinge of brown. So that means that it's already cooking. So now when you see that color, it's time to add our broth. So as you can see, we have the reserved mushroom stock which I'm going to add. So it's around 150 ml, approximately 1 cup, a little bit lesser than 1 cup. So let's add our stock. Now we'll give it a nice stir. All that flavor of mushroom will infuse into the risotto. Now it's time when your risotto will start releasing the starch and make it creamy. So now it's time to add our stock. We'll add the stock little by little. So the purpose of doing little by little is that you have to put the stock in the risotto, stir it well, and once you stir and cook, the water will evaporate. So again you put the same stock and again cook. That will release the starch and our risotto will eventually become creamier and it will have the desired consistency. When you add the stock, make sure that you filter out the herbs as they are already infused. We do not want the sticks of this rosemary to come in between your smooth creamy risotto. Give a nice stir to our risotto. Turn the heat to medium at this moment, so it will evaporate the water and it will help the rice to release the starch. Make sure that you are stirring your risotto at intervals. It's really important. This will take approximately 5 to 8 minutes. So as you can see, the starch is slowly getting released from the rice. So I've used all the water from our stock and added in the risotto. Now we will let our risotto cook for 10 minutes, but before that we will give it a good stir, and we will add pepper around 2 teaspoons. You can adjust the proportion according to your taste. We'll also add a pinch or two of salt. We will give it our final stir and cover it up for 10 minutes. Now we will let this cook for 8 to 10 minutes. So after 10 minutes, our risotto is ready. As you can see, the rice have swollen up, the grains have elongated, the water has evaporated. It's time to plate our risotto. But before that, we will top it off with some freshly grated mozzarella. You can also use a normal mozzarella cheese. It will really give a nice texture and a very nice flavor. So it's around 100 grams of shredded mozzarella. That's around 4 tablespoons. So the cheese will make our risotto more creamy. And remember that cheese is not to make risotto creamy per se, but to add flavor. Now the cheese is complementing the rice and complementing the flavors of mushroom and the bell peppers. So let's give it a final stir before we do our plating.